My beloved, my divine one, my child of grace who walks with heaven's light in your footsteps. Why are your hands suddenly cold right now? Why did your heart skip that one strange beat? Because somewhere deep down inside you, you already know something just opened. Something that was sealed for years. And now, heaven is allowing it to be revealed. But only to you. Only if you stay. Because Archangel Michael is crying loudly again. Not just crying. Wailing. Do you know why? Because you always skip the one message that was never supposed to be skipped. The message that carries your name, written in golden fire. The message that holds the key to what someone just confessed about you behind your back. And no, this isn't one of those stories you scroll past. This is the one where heaven bends the laws of time and mercy. Just to place this in front of you. Because if you miss this, you might never look at life the same again. Before we go deeper, I beg you, if your soul is ready to witness what's been hidden from you, if your spirit feels something pulling you in right now, then subscribe to this divine space where God and His messengers speak to you. Not by chance, but by divine appointment. Because missing the next whisper might delay something that's been crying to reach you for years. This is not entertainment. This is a celestial transmission. Archangel Michael said something last night. He looked up, arms bruised from battles you can't see, and whispered. They don't realize what was just said about them behind closed doors. But God heard it. And now, I must tell them the truth. Even if it breaks them. Even if it heals them. Even if they never see me the same again. My dear one. You were the topic of someone's late-night confession. Not a joke. Not a fantasy. But a raw, trembling, soul-level confession. They finally said it. They said the thing you always suspected. The words they once buried under silence. They couldn't hold it anymore. I still think about them. They changed my life in a way I can't describe. I tried to replace them. I tried to forget. But it didn't work. And guess what? The moment those words left their mouth, heaven trembled. Because you deserved to know. But you weren't ready. Until now. Until this very moment. The truth was too heavy for your heart before. Now, you're strong enough to receive it. But it comes with a warning. Michael said. If they skip this message, they will not only miss the confession. They will miss the door that opens because of it. And once closed, this door doesn't open twice. Let that sink in. Because this door holds more than just words. It holds visions. It holds clarity. It holds the truth about why that person left. And why they still keep your memory like a sacred letter folded inside their soul. My child, this is your moment of knowing. Not from gossip, not from tears, but from heaven's own records. You see, when someone confesses something out of pain, angels take note. They write it down. And when that confession involves you, it's held in a celestial vault until God says, "Deliver it." This is that moment. The air around you right now feels strange, doesn't it? A little heavier. A little warmer. That's because Michael is here. Not symbolically, but spiritually. He's holding a scroll. And it has your name. And the words inside? They'll make you weep. They'll make you angry. They'll make you whole. Do you still want to know? Because this isn't for the faint of heart. It's not a story, it's a soul report. The person who wronged you. The one who walked away. Or maybe the one who never came close enough. They broke a covenant. But they never stopped feeling it. They told someone recently, "I think I destroyed something holy." And they weren't talking about a house. They were talking about you. You were the miracle they mishandled. And now, life is making them watch you rise without them. But wait, there's more. Because their confession wasn't the only surprise. The real shock is what heaven has planned for you because of it. God is not punishing you. He's preparing a shift. You see, sometimes a person must confess before a door opens for someone else. That's you. You are the one the door opens for. Because you waited. Because you didn't get bitter. Because you allowed your tears to water your roots. And now? Heaven is about to exalt you publicly for what you endured privately. Michael said, "Tell them this isn't just about knowing the confession. It's about what the confession activates." And here's the truth. The person said your name. They said it with regret. They said it like someone who realizes they didn't just lose a person. They lost a prayer. You were their answered prayer. But they let fear speak louder than love. And now they're haunted. Not by ghosts. But by memories. By the way you laughed. By the way your eyes held galaxies. By the way your silence felt safer than anyone else's words. They even said, "I still stalk their energy. I still wonder if they think of me too." And heaven laughed. Because little did they know. You had already moved forward. But your spirit still left a fragrance in theirs. And now? You're about to be rewarded for every ounce of love you gave freely. You're about to see something wild. Something only heaven could orchestrate. Because you didn't know. That while you were crying at night, someone was writing about you in their journal. Someone was asking psychics about your energy. Someone was whispering to the moon for just one last sign from you. But this message is the sign. This is the heaven-sent reply to their soul-searching. Not to reunite you, but to liberate you. Liberate you from waiting, from wondering, from weakening yourself hoping for an apology. Because the confession is already made. And the healing? It's starting now. Michael said. The moment they read this with their whole heart, chains will fall off their spirit. And the same angels that once carried their tears will now carry their victory. You are walking into a season of supernatural justice. Not revenge. Not resentment. But divine realignment. The person who hurt you has been visited. They know. They've been dreaming of you. Seeing your name in strange places. Hearing songs that remind them of your soul print. They tried to escape the memory. But heaven doesn't erase sacred bonds. It just redirects the destiny. And now, you're the one being redirected. To your true path. Your true reward. The version of life where peace becomes your daily bread. And truth finally kisses your forehead. Archangel Michael is no longer crying now. He's watching. He's watching you take your first breath of freedom. Because you know now. You were always the blessing. You were always the prayer. And this message? It's your permission to walk boldly in what heaven has always known about you. You are divine. My beloved, I need you to take a breath right now, a slow and quiet breath, because what I'm about to say might shake the foundation of how you viewed yourself your entire life. You have been loved in secret. You have been the center of someone's silent world. You have been the prayer someone whispered when no one else was watching. And yet, you walked through seasons feeling invisible, feeling abandoned, feeling like you were asking for too much when all you wanted was to be held in honesty, to be seen without conditions, and to be chosen without hesitation. But let me tell you now, Archangel Michael saw it all. He stood beside you when you were left on read. He wept with you when you forgave them even when they didn't deserve it. He carried your heartbreak like a child carries a cracked toy, gently, carefully, never letting heaven forget how you loved. And now, he's crying again, but not because of your pain, this time, because of what's about to be revealed to you. You won't be the same after this, and that's not a warning. That's a promise from heaven. You need to know this, God did not forget you. He did not overlook your effort. He did not let you cry in vain. Every tear you gave away in silence was turned into a scroll in heaven. Your name has echoed in sacred spaces. And when someone recently spoke your name on earth, someone you know, someone you once loved, there was a pause in heaven. The angels stopped. The divine clock slowed. Because what they said wasn't ordinary. It wasn't shallow. It was a confession, a spiritual unveiling. They said they still feel your energy when they close their eyes. They said you are the one they let slip through the cracks, the one they still dream about even when they pretend they've moved on. My child, don't be fooled by silence. Don't be deceived by distance. Their soul has been shouting your name across timelines, across memories, across lifetimes. And now, that shout has reached the ears of Archangel Michael, who has one final duty left before your life completely transforms. This isn't just about heartbreak. This is about destiny. Because the moment they spoke your name with sincerity, something activated. A chain that once held back your breakthrough fell apart. A spiritual blockage shattered. And you? You became the receiver of something holy. Something only a few chosen ones ever witness, divine clarity. You are now in the moment of unveiling. The curtain is being lifted. And what's behind it is not just the confession of someone who still aches for you, it's the map to where your life begins again. But here's the danger, my sweet one. If you skip this, if you close your heart before heaven finishes speaking, you will walk away with only half the blessing. And Archangel Michael has waited far too long for this moment to let it slip through your fingers. Do you feel that ache in your chest right now? That tug on your spirit? That's not anxiety. That's your soul responding to truth. That's your inner knowing remembering what your mind tried to forget. Because you've always felt there was something unspoken between you and this person. You felt it in the way they hesitated. In the way they stayed close, yet always one step away. You felt their fear. You felt their love, buried, trembling, scared. They didn't confess before. They didn't have the courage. But something changed. Life taught them a lesson. Pain humbled them. And now, they've been visited by heaven, not just through dreams, but through signs, synchronicities, and now this message. They confessed. And that confession sent ripples across the spiritual plane. Do you know what that means? It means the very air you breathe has changed. It means timelines are shifting in your favor. It means nothing will ever be the same again. But listen closely, because God is not just telling you about their words. He is inviting you into a new version of yourself. A version where you no longer beg for closure. A version where you no longer shrink to be loved. A version where you walk like royalty because heaven has crowned you with evidence. You are not crazy. You are not dramatic. You are divinely intuitive. And your soul was right all along. You felt their guilt. You felt their pull. You felt their return, before they even reached out. Because spiritually, they never left. Spiritually, they stayed in your field, hovering like a song you can't forget. But now, the time of hovering is over. Now, it's time to receive. Michael says this is the moment where heaven releases you from spiritual captivity. You've been bound to someone's unspoken apology for far too long. You've been waiting for the moment where they would just say what your heart already knew. And now that it's happened, God says, move. Don't wait any longer. Don't linger in their silence. Their confession is your permission to rise. But beloved, there's something more you need to hear. Their confession didn't end with missing you. It ended with a prophecy. They said, I don't think I'll ever find someone like them again. That was their truth. That was their moment of realization. But for you? It's a doorway. Because someone greater is coming. And this person? They will not hesitate. They will not question your worth. They will not play games with your heart. They will see you the way heaven sees you, as a miracle walking on earth. You've been divinely protected from people who couldn't carry the weight of your spirit. And that protection may have felt like rejection. But trust me, beloved, it was mercy. Michael shielded you from those who would have loved you halfway. And now, because you passed the test of pain, because you chose to heal instead of hate, you are being offered a reward not even your prayers dared to ask for. This message is a portal. This message is a bridge. This message is Michael shouting from the heavens, don't you dare skip this. Don't you dare forget who you are. Because the person you've been waiting on, they already confessed. And the universe heard it. And now, it's your turn. Your turn to rise. Your turn to receive. Your turn to let go of the old story and embrace the new chapter God has already written in the stars. You have waited long enough. And now, the miracle you thought would never come, it's here. In this moment. In this message. In you. My beloved, you have no idea how long heaven has been holding this back, waiting for the right moment to place this message in front of you. But today, the gates opened. Not gently. Not slowly. They burst open with a rush of divine urgency, because something has shifted. Something massive. Archangel Michael has been crying, not tears of sadness, but of deep, aching frustration. Because he's been trying to reach you. And every time he sends a sign, a whisper, a divine nudge, you skip it. You scroll past it. You shake your head and say, maybe later. But later never came. And now now is the final hour. Not in a dramatic sense, but in a divine sense. Because this message will not come again. This message is the one that holds the truth you were never supposed to hear unless your soul was ready. And now it is. Finally. Do you remember that person? The one your soul never fully let go of? The one who made you question why the heart can ache even when the mouth stays silent? The one who smiled at you like they knew you from 1,000 years ago, but treated you like a stranger when fear took over? Yes, that one. Heaven has been watching the tug-of-war inside them, the one between pride and truth. And something happened. Something sacred. They confessed. Maybe not to you. maybe not even out loud, but in spirit, in their prayers, in the quiet moments when no one else was around. They said your name. They said they missed you. They said they regret everything. And those words, they didn't just vanish into the air. They shot straight into heaven's ears. And now, God is revealing the truth to you. You were not crazy. You were not overthinking. You were not asking for too much. You were sensing what their soul was screaming behind their silence. Archangel Michael heard it too. And he couldn't bear to keep it from you any longer. So now, with sword in hand and wings wide open, he's delivering the message that will change your entire understanding of what you meant to them. They said you were the only person who ever saw them. Not their face. Not their body. But their soul. They said they sabotaged it because they felt unworthy. Because your light exposed their shadows. Because loving you meant facing parts of themselves they weren't ready to heal. But here's the part that will shake you: they never stopped watching you. Not physically. Spiritually. Energetically. They kept checking in on your life through timelines, through whispers, through memories that wouldn't die. And every time they thought they moved on, your name came back like a divine echo. Michael says this isn't just about closure. This is about release. Because you've been carrying questions like chains. And those questions have shaped how you see yourself. You started thinking maybe you weren't lovable. Maybe you were too much. Maybe they were right to walk away. But they weren't right. They were scared. And now, they're not just haunted by your absence, they're inspired by it. Because you became more beautiful in your pain. You didn't collapse. You didn't chase. You grew. You glowed. You became a symbol of strength they could never forget. And that's why they confessed. Because their soul couldn't take the silence anymore. But here's where it gets divine. Heaven didn't just hear their words. Heaven responded. And you're the one receiving the response. You see, everything you've been through has not been random. The silence. The waiting. The confusion. It was all part of a divine setup to bring you to this moment. Because this message is not just revealing what they said, it's unlocking what God has planned for you next. You're stepping into a season where your intuition will be validated daily. Where your worth will be recognized not just by others, but by the universe itself. Where the very things you thought disqualified you will become the reason you rise. Michael says to tell you this: stop looking back for apologies. Start looking forward to rewards. Because God is not trying to take you back into the arms of someone who hurt you. He's trying to give you back to yourself. Whole. Radiant. And armed with truth. And the truth is, they were always thinking about you. Even in the arms of another. Even when they posted like they were fine. Even when they blocked you. They were never really gone. They were just trapped in shame. But your name never left their spirit. It clung to them. It echoed through their mistakes. It sang to them in the quiet hours. And now? They're finally admitting it. But you? You don't have to wait for a text. This message is the reply your soul has been begging for. It's the divine confirmation that you mattered. That you still matter. And that no lie they told themselves could erase the imprint you left on their heart. Archangel Michael wants you to sit with this, not just skim it. Let it break you open. Let it cleanse the wound. Let it close the chapter. Because this isn't about rekindling old flames. It's about lighting a new one within yourself. A flame that doesn't need permission. A flame that burns from knowing you were never hard to love. You were just rare. And rare things are often misunderstood. But not anymore. Not after today. Because the truth is here. And it's roaring. You were the one. You are still the one. And now, you are free. Free from the need to prove yourself. Free from the cycles of waiting. Free from the illusion that you were the problem. You were the lesson. You were the light. And your presence changed everything. So let this be your moment. Let this be the message you don't skip. Because Michael says he's done watching you hurt in silence. He's done watching you doubt your magic. This is your time. This is your healing. This is your sign. Stay. Read this again. Let it pour into the cracks they left behind. And when you're ready, when your heart steadies, walk forward, not to chase them, but to meet the life that's been chasing you. Because something holy is coming. And this time, it's coming for the healed version of you. The version that knows the truth. The version that doesn't settle. The version that no longer cries for love, but becomes it. Because the truth is, God didn't just allow this message to fall into your lap for curiosity or comfort, He sent it as a heavenly alarm. An awakening. A spiritual unveiling of what your heart has been yearning to know. And not just about them, but about you. Because somewhere along the way, in the heartbreak, in the betrayal, in the endless wondering of, why wasn't I enough? You forgot who you are. You forgot how much heaven fights for you. You forgot that there are scrolls with your name etched into them, held tightly in the hands of angels who've watched your every tear, recorded your every silent prayer, and heard your voice even when it trembled. You forgot that the divine doesn't skip over the broken-hearted. It draws closer. And now, it's so close, you can feel it in your bones. That shift. That stirring. That moment where everything you thought you'd never understand is suddenly clear. Archangel Michael says that what you endured was not punishment, it was positioning. It wasn't rejection, it was redirection. Because if they had chosen you with the version of themselves that couldn't love you properly, you would have been trapped in a cycle of almost love. The kind that makes you feel hopeful one day and hollow the next. But God wanted more for you. He wanted a love that would mirror the way heaven sees you, completely, endlessly, and without fear. And now, because you didn't chase them, because you stood still and allowed the silence to teach you instead of destroy you, that reward is forming. That promise is approaching. And the person you're becoming? They're stronger, wiser, softer, and 10 times more luminous than the version who first fell in love with someone who couldn't hold your light. But listen closely. This is not a call to go back. This is not an invitation to reopen closed doors. This is the divine telling you, look at what I protected you from. Look at what I shielded you from becoming. Because you could have let that pain harden you. You could have turned cold. You could have mirrored their distance, matched their silence, and folded yourself into a smaller shape just to be tolerated. But you didn't. You remained love. Even when they didn't deserve it. Even when they ghosted you. Even when they pretended you didn't exist. And that's what made heaven take notice. That's what made Michael come running with this message. Because God rewards those who love purely, even in the face of rejection. You must know this now, your love didn't go unnoticed. Your energy didn't go unappreciated. It was too powerful, too sacred, too holy for someone who hadn't learned how to love themselves yet. And that's not your fault. That's not your burden. That's not your mistake to carry. Their inability to love you never reflected your worth. It only reflected their wounds. And now, they see it. They've said it. They've whispered it in regretful moments. They've spoken it in confessions that no one else was supposed to hear. But heaven heard. And so did Michael. And now? Now you get to release the weight of wondering if you were enough. Because you always were. They just weren't ready. And now, neither are you, for who you were. Because the old version of you who waited, begged, questioned, prayed, and cried, that version is now ascending. That version is becoming sacred history. Because today, you rise into the awareness of who you were truly created to be. Not just a lover. Not just a healer. But a divine vessel of light who makes even the angels pause in awe. You have been walking through a battlefield and didn't even realize it. A battlefield of energetic warfare, emotional attacks, spiritual confusion. And yet, you're still here. Still soft. Still seeking God. Still trying to do right by others. That, my child, is holy. That is divine resilience. And it deserves recognition. It deserves reward. It deserves restoration. So Michael is here. With fire in his eyes and love in his voice. Telling you, stop blaming yourself. Stop shrinking. Stop questioning the energy you once gave freely. Because your energy is currency in the spiritual realm. It shifts timelines. It heals families. It awakens people from spiritual slumber. And it is never wasted. Never. The one who received it may not have been able to handle it, but heaven recorded it. And heaven always repays. But before your reward comes, you must do one thing: release. Not forgive them because they asked. Forgive because you deserve to be free. Release the illusion that they were your only shot at real love. Release the shame of having loved someone who couldn't love you back. Release the guilt for how long you held on. Because holding on wasn't weakness, it was faith. You believed in the beauty of something deeper. And that belief? It is about to create something new in your life. Something wild. Something sacred. Something better than what you lost. Because what's coming? It doesn't just feel like love. It is love. And not the kind that takes and leaves. But the kind that stays. That listens. That covers you in prayer. That shows up when everyone else runs. The kind of love that feels like home and heaven at the same time. And it's closer than you think. But you must be empty to receive it. You must be healed enough to not sabotage it. You must be clear enough to recognize it. Michael says the next season of your life is not about chasing. It's about attracting. Your presence will do the talking. Your spirit will do the glowing. And your energy will pull in people and opportunities that feel like answered prayers. Because the old version of you did the work. The hard, painful, quiet, lonely work. And now, the healed version of you gets to collect the blessings. Not because you forced it. But because you finally let go. And letting go? That's when heaven shows off. You're not late. You're not behind. You're right on divine time. Every delay, every detour, every tear, it was all part of your resurrection. And now that the veil has been lifted, now that the confession has been heard, now that the message has been delivered, all that's left is one thing: your decision. Will you rise with this truth? Or will you crawl back to the version of yourself that begged for crumbs? Michael says rise. Rise with your crown straight. Rise with your heart whole. Rise with your memory clear. Rise with heaven standing behind you. Because this time, you are not alone. You never were. Because, my child, you've done something that most people on earth cannot even comprehend. You chose to keep your heart open in a world that constantly gives reasons to shut it. You loved without limits. You believed in someone when even they didn't believe in themselves. You stayed when others ran. And even when you walked away, you didn't slam the door, you left a light on, just in case they needed to find their way home. Do you think heaven didn't see that? Do you think the angels didn't gather around and whisper, "Look at this soul, they're still choosing love even through their own pain"? Oh, beloved, you've built up so much heavenly credit, not in the form of money, but in miracles. And now the divine bank is ready to pour it down on you. Not as compensation, but as restoration. Because what you gave was sacred. What you lost was real. And what you're about to receive is beyond anything your imagination could construct. You are not here by accident. You're not reading this because of coincidence. You're here because something spiritual needed to interrupt your ordinary day and remind you that your story is far from over. That the moment you almost gave up, that was the moment heaven started writing your comeback. And now, Archangel Michael has been ordered by the Most High to deliver this personal, divine message into your hands, not to scare you, not to confuse you, but to prepare you. Because what's coming will be so beautiful, so unexpected, so wildly divine that if your heart is still holding on to their silence, you might miss the miracle. And Michael is begging you, not to look back. Not this time. Because the moment you stop waiting for their apology, the moment you stop checking their energy, the moment you finally say, "God, I'm ready for what you want," that's when your real life begins. And oh, what a life is coming. God is not sending you a person who will play games with your intuition. He's not sending you another half-present soul to confuse your spirit. He is sending someone who will hear your silence louder than anyone else's words. Someone who will understand the assignment of loving someone as deep as you. Someone who has also been in the wilderness, who has been softened by the storm, who has cried out to the same God on the same nights when your pillow was soaked in grief. They will not come to complete you. They will come to join you. Because God never wanted you to live in pieces, He wanted you whole. And He's been doing just that. Quietly. Painfully. Miraculously. He's been rearranging things you didn't even know were broken. He's been removing people you thought you needed. And now He's building the path for what's yours, without interference. Without confusion. Without fear. But let me say this with every drop of angelic truth, you are not waiting on them anymore. You are not holding space for their return. You are not postponing your purpose for someone who couldn't even send a message. Because the version of you that cried in silence has already ascended. The version of you that questioned their every move is no longer in charge. And the version of you that hoped they would change is being wrapped in gold by heaven itself. You are stepping into divine identity now. The kind of identity that doesn't chase energy, it commands it. The kind that doesn't beg for love, it radiates it. The kind that makes angels stand still and whisper, "There they are." Finally. They've remembered who they are. You are not hard to love. You are hard to fool. You are not too much. You are too awake. You are not broken. You are breaking free. And yes, they confessed. And yes, they regret. But no, That doesn't mean you wait. That doesn't mean you hold the door open for a version of them that still doesn't know how to stay. What it means is that you now know what you always felt: you were loved, but they weren't ready to love you the way you deserved. And that's not on you. That's not your fault. That's not your story anymore. Michael says you must stop apologizing for being powerful, for being sensitive, for being prophetic, for being the kind of soul that feels things no one else acknowledges. That is your gift. That is your anointing. That is why they were drawn to you in the first place. Not because you were easy, but because you were divine. Because you were a mirror. Because you showed them who they could become if they chose healing. But they didn't. Not then. And maybe not now. But you? You're choosing you. And that, beloved, is what shifts heaven and earth. So let go now. Not out of bitterness. Out of honor. Honor what you had. Honor what you learned. And then rise like the miracle you are. Because God is not finished. Archangel Michael is not leaving your side. And the life that's about to unfold for you? It will make sense of every unanswered prayer, every lonely night, every tear you thought no one saw. You were never invisible. You were hidden. Protected. Preserved. For something far greater. Because what's being written about you in heaven now isn't a chapter, it's a prophecy. One that was delayed, not denied. One that was waiting for you to come to the end of yourself, not because God needed you to suffer, but because He needed you to stop settling. And now, as Archangel Michael stands beside you, with the sword that has defended your soul more times than you'll ever know, he speaks one final truth: the pain they gave you was never your identity. It was your doorway. Do you understand what that means? It means that everything, the betrayal, the confusion, the silence, the abandonment, it was all a part of your awakening. Without it, you might have lived your whole life wondering why love felt so shallow. Why people couldn't meet you at the depth you were born to swim in. But now you know. You were never meant to live a surface life. You were born for oceans. For stars. For miracles. And yes, someone once held your heart with unsteady hands. Yes, they confessed, but far too late. Yes, they see your worth now, but not with the clarity of someone who deserves to hold it. Because clarity after loss is not the same as vision before action. And Archangel Michael says that while heaven heard their confession, you do not owe them your return. You owe yourself your rise. You owe the younger version of you, the one who cried herself to sleep wondering what she did wrong, you owe her this version of you. This powerful, soft, wise, spiritually alive version. The one who no longer waits for closure but becomes it. The one who doesn't seek validation but walks like proof. The one who doesn't just survive storms but becomes the calm after. Because the truth is, what's coming for you is not even a person, it's a season. A season where the doors that once shut in your face now beg for your presence. A season where everything that was delayed is handed to you in double measure. A season where you walk into rooms and people feel your peace before they even hear your voice. And when love comes, and it will, it won't confuse you. It won't drain you. It won't run from your depth or flinch at your past. It will sit beside you and say, I know exactly what you've been through. And I still choose you. That is what God has been preparing you for. Not a return, but a redemption. And what of the person who confessed? They've started their healing. They've begun their reckoning. But they are not your responsibility. Their soul is on its own journey now. And even if your spirits touch in dreams, even if your name echoes in their thoughts, you are not obligated to carry what they dropped. You are not meant to be the bridge and the destination. You were the message. The awakening. The one they couldn't forget because your love held the scent of heaven. And now that they've admitted it, now that Archangel Michael has delivered that confirmation, it's time for you to choose yourself the way you once chose them. And don't be surprised when blessings start arriving faster than you can explain. When doors open that were welded shut. When strangers treat you with a reverence that no one else ever offered. Because heaven remembers everything. The way you smiled when you wanted to break. The way you loved even when it cost you. The way you believed when there was nothing left to hold on to. God has not forgotten. Michael has not forgotten. And now, the release is here. Not just a word. A wave. A flood. A spiritual cleansing that removes the last traces of pain from your energy field. The past is closing. The future is pulling you. And the present? It's sacred now. It's holy ground. So breathe. Deeply. Let your shoulders relax. Let your heart exhale. You've made it. Through heartbreak. Through grief. Through doubt. Through nights when even prayer felt too heavy. You've made it. And now the only thing left to do is receive. Receive the love that matches your frequency. Receive the peace that doesn't disappear at sunset. Receive the life that once felt like a distant hope. Because it's not distant anymore. It's here. Within reach. Waiting for your yes. And as Michael watches you read these final lines, he bows, not because you're above him, but because you remembered. You remembered that even when people forget you, heaven never does. You remembered that love is not something you chase, it's something you are. You remembered that no amount of human silence can override a divine calling. And now? You are walking into the most beautiful chapter of your life. Not because of who's coming back, but because of who you've become. You are no longer the one waiting to be chosen. You are the one who knows they were chosen before they were even born. And that changes everything.